Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May Brahman protect us. May he guide us and give us strength and right understanding. May love and harmony be with us all. Peace, peace, peace. So I'm going to talk about aspects of the Divine Mother as seen through Holy Mother, and a little bit about Kali. So a very happy Kali Puja and Diwali to you all. And I'm not used to reading from this thing like this, but we'll give it a whirl and see how it goes. So the grand mystery of this universe is that this infinite, undivided, unchanging reality has the power to manifest an apparent universe. And we call this the combination of Brahman and Maya, or Shiva and Shakti. We personify these various aspects of the divine play as masculine and feminine deities. The more abstract general principles are generally thought of as the masculine deity, and the more concrete, dynamic, active principles are generally thought of as the feminine. But it's just our kind of convenient way of dividing things up. God is really infinite. Now, many people, because they think that God is the one, think that God has one form. But Hinduism took the opposite tact and said, well, God is infinite. God can take any form it wants, and that form could be masculine or feminine. So in general, since we think of the feminine aspect in our own biological sense as the one who gives birth to things, we tend to think of the power of the universe that manifests the universe as the feminine aspect, and the unchanging principle behind it as the masculine. So it's interesting that we can think that all these various gods and goddesses, these deities, on one hand, we could think, well, they're all really part of the manifest universe. They're really all part of Maya. They're all part of the divine play. So they all come from the feminine. But we could also say that everything comes from Brahman, which we shouldn't really call as the masculine principle, but often do. So it's interesting that we can think of it either way. It's all just a play of names and forms. It's just the divine play in all the different aspects. And of course, you'll read scriptures that will give the various aspects of the divine maybe 1,008 names or 108 names. So we have so many aspects in order to personify everything that happens in the universe. We have many, many aspects of the divine form. And of course, Durga, we just finished Navaratri and Durga Puja. There's a traditional 9 forms of Durga that are often worshipped in succession during the Navaratri Puja. I'm going to shorten this up since we got a little bit of a late start here. In Tantra, there are 10 forms: Kali, Tara, Shudashi, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Tumavati, Bagala, Vatangi, and Kamala. Now, Kali, the first of the 10 Mahavidyas in the Tantric tradition, comes from the Sanskrit roots Maha, meaning great, and Vidya, meaning revelation or manifestation or knowledge or wisdom. In the Shakta tradition, it's believed that there's one truth and it's sensed in 10 different facets. These are the 10 facets of the Divine Mother. So the Divine Mother is adored and approached as 10 cosmic personalities. Now, Kali is one of those 10. In fact, it's considered the ultimate form of Brahman, and of course that's the focus of tonight's puja. There are a couple of interesting stories that I can relate to, of people's kind of personal insights into the Divine Mother. Many people are put off by Mother Kali's form because it seems kind of terrible and kind of gruesome compared to what we often would like to think of as God. But she also has a very benevolent, motherly form to her as well. And so there's kind of this paradoxical feeling about Mother Kali. And one person explained it this way. He said that the infinite seen within is blissful, but the infinite seen outside is terrifying. And so that's why Mother Kali has these two aspects. When she's seen as something exterior, it's the terrible nature of time, the all-destroying time. But if you seek to realize the divinity within yourself, take that infinite understanding of the divine within yourself, you find the infinite within yourself, and that's blissful. And so she has these two aspects, the one that seems rather terrifying, and the other which gives bliss. Another insight was that someone was chanting the Chandi in front of the image of Kali that had been produced for that year. And the thought came from the consonants on the image that she was saying, you know, this is all a ruse. I'm not really terrible at all. So it's like this divine play of creating this feeling that the world is terrible to lead us away from the world back to the essence, back to what's behind the manifestation. Now, Holy Mother, in several different instances, was said to represent these various different aspects of the Divine Mother. We have Kali, the ultimate form of Brahman, the devourer of time; Tara, the goddess as a guide and protector, and one who saves; the Tripuri Sundari, or Shodashi, the goddess who is beautiful in the three worlds; Bhuvaneshwari, the goddess as world mother, whose body is all 14 lokas, in other words, the whole cosmos; Bhairavi, the fierce goddess, the female version of Bhairav; Chinmasta, the self-decapitated goddess. She chopped her head in order to satisfy the Jaya and Vijaya, the metaphors of Rajas and Tamas, the part of the three gunas. Dhumavati, the widow goddess, or the goddess of death, she is also referred to as Alakshmi, and her symbol is the crow. And Bagalamukti, the goddess who paralyzes her enemies; and Batangji, the prime minister of Lalita, which is the tantric Saraswati; and then Kamala, the lotus goddess, or the tantric Lakshmi. So those are the 10 different tantric aspects of the Divine Mother. All right, let's see. It's hard to know how many details to include and get through on time. All right, so I'll tell you a little bit about Jagaddhatri. Jagaddhatri is one of the goddesses of the Tantra, and she's depicted as three-eyed goddess who has 4 arms and rides a lion. In each of her hands she holds a conch, a bow, an arrow, and a chakra. She is clothed in red, in a red sari, and is decked up with bright jewels. She stands on a dead demon called Karindrasura, who is depicted as an elephant. The story of goddess Jagaddhatri is that after Goddess Durga killed Mahishasura, the gods started believing that because they lent their powers to the goddess, she was able to vanquish the demons. This thought filled them with arrogance. To vanquish this arrogance, Brahma appeared before them in the form of a yaksha. He kept a blade of grass in front of the gods and challenged them to destroy it. The fire god Agni could not burn it. The god of air Vayu could not move it, in spite of all his great powers. So the realization dawned on them that their powers are derived from the ultimate source of power, Shakti. She is the supreme goddess and the source of all powers. She holds the universe together with her immense powers, and thus Jagaddhatri came to be worshipped. Any person who worships Goddess Jagaddhatri with devotion becomes completely egoless. She blesses her devotees with great powers and fearlessness. Jagaddhatri, standing over the elephant demon, indicates that to control our mind, which is frantic like an elephant, we have to assume the power of Goddess Jagaddhatri. Jagaddhatri Puja is celebrated all over West Bengal with great enthusiasm, especially in certain areas. Huge idols of the Devi are put up through the region, and the festival lasts for almost a week. Now, we'll move on then to an incident in Holy Mother's life. Vasani Nandi was born near Kamarkapur, probably in 1899. She was married when she was about 7, but her husband died shortly thereafter. When she was 13, Holy Mother hired her to do some household work, such as cleaning the dishes and clothes, sweeping and mopping the floor, and so on. In the evenings, she also massaged the mother's feet to relieve her rheumatism. Vasana recalled, "One day in Jairambati, I wanted to go to a neighboring village to attend to a puja. But the mother would not allow me to go alone. That night, when I was massaging her feet with oil, she told me, 'The thing which you are eager to see, you will see here.' While massaging her feet, I fell asleep. Suddenly my sleep broke, and I saw a bright light all around. I have never seen such an effulgent light. I saw the living goddess, Jagaddhatri, in the midst of that light. It was a beautiful and benign form of the Divine Mother. But I did not see the mother. Frightened, I cried, 'Mother, Mother,' and ran out of the room. But I did not see the mother outside either. I returned to the room and found the mother sleeping on her bed. There was no more blazing light. Instead, a dim kerosene lantern was lit in a corner. I called out to the mother and she asked, 'What have you seen?' I told her what I saw. Smiling, she said, 'What you have seen is true. I am Jagaddhatri, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Kali.' So Holy Mother was embodiment of the Divine Feminine, and she could manifest any one of these particular forms of the Divine Mother at one time or another. Or one person would see her as a manifestation of, say, Saraswati, or a manifestation of Kali or Jagaddhatri, depending on the particular situation and their particular level of need. Okay, there's another story. One evening, the doctor came and left after seeing Radu. There was a small stool in our room. Mother was seated on it. On my own, I began to gently massage Mother's feet. They were wrinkled and dry. Moreover, her body was then lean and thin. While massaging her feet, a question arose in my mind. Is Mother truly the mother of the universe? Could the Divine Mother have such wrinkled feet and visible veins? Although the question was in my mind and I did not express it, I continued to massage her feet. This cursor is almost impossible to see. Gradually, a mysterious change occurred. I felt that her feet were no longer the emancipated feet of an old woman. They were well developed, the feet of a young woman. There was a lantern nearby, and in the light I clearly saw 2 beautiful feet outlined with a stripe of red paint, alta. The toes fully developed and close to one another. and exquisite half-crescent toenails. There were also golden anklets adorned with gems and jewels. I wondered whose feet these were that I was massaging. Astonished and dumbfounded, I slowly shifted my gaze from Mother's feet to her face. I saw the form of goddess Jagaddhatri with a golden complexion, 3 eyes and 4 arms, adorned with many ornaments. She wore a crown on her head and held weapons in her hands. A magnificent luster emanated from her body. Before I saw that form completely, I lost outer consciousness, saying, "Mother, Mother." I do not know how long I stayed in that condition. When I regained consciousness, I found Holy Mother caressing my back with her hands and saying, "O Hari, O Hari." What has happened to you? Get up, get up. I got up and saw again the old, emaciated mother looking at her sick niece. So we have different stories like that. There are quite a few of them in Swami Chaitananda's book on Holy Mother. All right, let's look at one about Saraswati. Saraswati is the cosmic intelligence of the universe, representing the knowledge aspect. And Lakshmi, of course, is prosperity and glory, magnificence, support, and so forth, sustenance. Mahakali is the transformative power of divinity, the power that dissolves multiplicity into unity. So here's a story from Swami Shivananda, one of Ramakrishna's direct disciples. Swami Shivananda said, "Our mother's name is Sarada. She is the goddess Saraswati herself. Out of her grace, she bestows knowledge of God. Without this knowledge, one cannot have devotion. Pure knowledge and pure devotion are the same, and one can attain both by her grace alone." And Swami Atmavidyananda, another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, said, "She who was Sita and Radha has incarnated in this age in the form of Sri Sarada Devi. The mother is Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom. She bestows knowledge and liberation. The master and mother are identical as Shiva and Shakti." And Ramakrishna himself said, "There is a great power in the seed of God's name. It destroys ignorance. A seed is tender and the sprout soft. Still it pierces the hard ground, and the ground breaks and makes way for the sprout." Here we go. All right, Ramakrishna said about Holy Mother that she is an incarnation of Saraswati. She is born to bestow knowledge on others. He transferred the results of his spiritual experiences to her and taught her various mantras relating to particular deities so that the mother could continue his spiritual ministry after his passing away. In the Holy Mother's life, we find the goddess acting as guru and as mother. Swami Gambhirananda described how these 3 aspects of goddess, guru, and mother blended harmoniously in Holy Mother's life. Whenever she appeared to us as the mother, he said, we get a glimpse of her inherent power of imparting that true knowledge that dispels the ignorance of all. When we approached her as a guru, she draws us to her lap as a mother. And when we recognize the mother and guru in her, we find her seated transcendentally in her own divine effulgence. In fact, we cannot discern where any of these mutually dependent aspects ends and another begins. And a story from Surendranath Sen, who was a young man from East Bengal. He was a great follower of Swami Vivekananda, and one day he went to Bellarmine and requested initiation from Swamiji. On an auspicious day, Swamiji initiated 3 persons in the shrine, one after another, and then finally called Surendra. He meditated for a while and then said to Surendra, "The Master has told me that I am not your guru. He has shown me that the person who will initiate you is greater than I. Don't be discouraged, you will be initiated at the right time." But broken-hearted, Surendra thought, who could be greater than Swamiji? Considering me unfit, he did not initiate me, but rather got rid of me. Sometime after this event, Surendra had a dream in which he himself saw himself seated on the lap of Sri Ramakrishna. The luminous form of a goddess appeared and said, "Take this mantra." "Who are you?" Surendra asked. "I am Saraswati," replied the goddess. She then uttered the mantra and asked Surendra to repeat it at least 108 times a day. But Surendra never repeated that mantra. But 7 years later, in 1906, Surendra and his friend, Dr. Sen, went to Bellarmine to attend Durga Puja. Sharad Chakrabarti, a disciple of Swamiji, asked them to go to Jagaddhatri to meet the mother. After Durga Puja, Surendra went to Kamarkapur and then to Jagaddhatri. On the second day, Holy Mother called Surendra, asked him to take initiation, and suggested that he bring some flowers the next day, which was Lakshmi Puja, an auspicious day. Surendra recalled, "During the initiation, the mother put her right hand on my head and left hand on my chin, and then imparted the mantra. As soon as I heard the mantra, the whole episode of my dream initiation flashed through my mind, and I felt dizzy. Momentarily, I lost consciousness, but I felt inner bliss. Regaining normal consciousness, I saw that the mother's form and the form of the goddess in my dream were the same. As soon as I said, 'Mother, I received this mantra long ago in a dream,' she said, 'Well, my son, does it not tally? You received the right mantra. Don't you see the Master now and then?'" Now, another form, Bagala. Bagala is one of the more terrible forms. It has to come out when the going really gets tough. In February of 1889 and February of 1890, Harish, a disciple of Ramakrishna, had stayed with the Master at Dakshineshwar from time to time. His family was greatly disturbed by his indifference to the family, so she gave him a strong drug to divert his mind to worldly life. This affected his brain. During this period, Harish arrived at Kamarkapur in a deranged state of mind and began to act abnormally. Holy Mother was worried, so she wrote to the young disciple at the Brahmagor Mat. But before they could take any action, Harish lost control of himself. Holy Mother later described that incident. Quote, "Once Harish came to Kamarkapur and stayed for some days. One day, as I entered the compound of our home after visiting a neighbor, Harish began to chase me. He was then insane. His wife had brought about this condition. There was no one in our house and no place to escape. In a helpless state, I began to walk faster and faster around the granary. He pursued me. After going around 7 times, I stopped. I assumed my real form, laid him on the ground, placed my knees on his chest, and then held his tongue and began slapping him hard. He began to gasp for breath. My fingers became red. As soon as Swamis Niranjanananda and Saradananda received Holy Mother's message, they rushed to Kamarkapur to protect her. She told them to take Harish to Calcutta. Harish knew that Niranjanananda was very strong and would not tolerate any kind of misbehavior. When he saw Niranjanananda, he was so frightened that he left for Vrindavan without causing any further trouble. By God's grace, he later recovered his mental illness. Now, Bagala is one of the 10 forms described as the destroyer of demons. So she had to temporarily subdue the demon that had taken over his mind. So Holy Mother is a very versatile manifestation. It just illustrates that all these different forms are just manifestations of the one, but we tend to see them different and compartmentalize them, but they're all really the one. Annapurna is derived from the Sanskrit meaning of giver of food or nourishment. And so she's one of the more benevolent aspects. So here we have a story that relates to that aspect. Nilima Mukhopadhyay recorded another story of Holy Mother's divinity that she had heard. Nilima asked, "What do you think about Holy Mother?" Bharati Prana replied, "I did not experience anything in particular. I lived with her as a child would with its mother. Her love was fathomless. But yes, one day I was taken aback. On that day, unexpectedly, many devotees came to the Mother's house for prasad, and we became anxious about how to feed such a crowd. I hurriedly went to the Mother and informed her of the situation. She got up and said encouragingly, 'Everything will be all right. Let us go to the kitchen and see.' The Mother entered the kitchen and saw the food. She then took a spatula and stirred each container. Amazingly, all the devotees were satisfied with that food. Then it suddenly dawned on me, well, is Holy Mother then Goddess Annapurna herself?" So we see that Holy Mother has all these different aspects of the Divine Mother, each one representing a different part of this manifest world. The complex interactions of all the different components of the universe, which are fathomlessly complicated, you could say. And yet they all come from the one Divine Mother that has all these many, many aspects. So, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Filled with Brahman are the things we see. Filled with Brahman are the things we see not. From out of Brahman floweth all that is. From Brahman all, yet is it still the same. Peace, peace, peace.